Okay, so Miss Cheryl had a really good word that Sabbath is related to the letter Zion because it is.
Well, it's warfare.
It's warfare to obey Jehovah in the earth. Okay, all right.
We've
And
all
so,
had to go through that warfare.
Yeah.
do you guys ever do that when you start Shabbat at your home on Friday nights? I mean, sometimes we'll just have to have. We usually do pray a prayer covering over the congregation and those entering in, but it's like, at least at our house, sometimes there's some bumps in the road
Yeah.
to get through. So, but that's why that would make more sense to it. When I was working on the notes and this Sabbath thing, because we are also being equipped to be witnesses, I thought it would be good to just look at another connection with Sabbath and being a weapon in this. So if you'll just read along with me, it says, "Man labors and works in the earth for 6 days, fulfilling his assignments given to him by Jehovah." And I think that's important because, praise Jehovah, we're headed toward the millennial reign. But right now, 6 days a week, Father has work for us to do. He has assignments for us to do. And that's equally as worshipful to him when we're doing those things. The scripture says, whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of Yehoshua our Messiah unto Elohim. And so when we do whatever assignment the Father has for us that day, in doing that, we're blessing others, we're fulfilling our part of our community, or whatever that is. That is a form of worship in doing that as well. All those guys working on the well out there today, that was a form of worship in, whatever the Father had you do today. So I think that's important to emphasize as well as the seventh day. So 6 days, in Exodus 2, 6 days you shall labor and work. Okay, so you're supposed to. And then on the seventh day, man ceases from his labor and fulfills his assignment from his Creator. So we also have an assignment on the seventh day. And I've been working on a writing about the role of a woman. And I had a couple people ask me a question about it. So I started just answering the question, and it kind of keeps growing, me. And now I'm like, okay, I think I've got another book I'm working on. But I've just been digging out all this stuff. But our role and our assignment that our Creator has given to us is so important. And as women, I won't get there tonight, I could so go there. But this is his creatures. If you acknowledge him as your creator, then you need to recognize the seventh day because you're his creation and you're acknowledging he is creator when you keep the seventh day. So the seventh day assignment is to rest from our weekly labor and to join in the set apart gathering. So everybody say rest.
Rest.
And to join in the gathering.
Join in the gathering.
Now, and I'll stay with my notes here. So here's Leviticus 23:3. We also know this is the go-to chapter for the appointed times of Jehovah, right? Heavy, will you read that one for me?
Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
6 days work is done, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of rest, a set-apart gathering. You do no work. It is a Sabbath to Jehovah in all your dwellings.
Okay. So 6 days you do what?
Work.
All right. But the seventh day is a Sabbath of
Rest.
Okay. Does it stop right there? So what is that all? No, it says A, start gathering. All right. So there's we need to get resting and gathering. I don't think I put this on your paper. I was going to have it put in, but if you'll write down Exodus 20 verse 8, right under that. Exodus 20 verse 8, and I'll just read it for you. But it says, "Remember the Sabbath day to set it apart." Remember the Sabbath day to set it apart. So the main Zayin word that we're going to work on tonight that is 3 times in our section of Psalm 119, okay, is the Hebrew word for remember. And it is Hebrew word number 2142, and this will be in your notes later. And this is what it is. It's Zalker. It's the Z and then the Kaf there and the Resh. Zalker. Try that for me.
Zalker.
Okay. So if you're going to say remember in Hebrew, you would say Zacher. So those of us that are over 50 in this room, when we forget something and you want to speak Hebrew over your mind, just go Zacher, Zacher. Okay, remember. We need to remember what it is. So remember the Sabbath day. So here we have the Zayin word associated with Sabbath. Zacher. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it set apart. All right. He didn't say remember not to steal. He didn't say remember not to covet. But remembrance is connected with the Shabbat. All right, with Sabbath, and it's a warfare. Okay. Remember begins with a Zayin word that will be in our study of this portion of Psalm 119. Let's say it one more time. What is it? Zacher. Okay, it's had that cuss sound in there a little bit. Zacher. So Leviticus 23:3. Let's just bring out these two concepts. It's rest and gathering. Sabbath is H7676, or Hebrew, and it is Shabbat. It's a sheen, a bet, and a tav. And that word means the weekly Sabbath plus every other high Sabbath or set apart Sabbath during the festival time, that type of thing. So the Sabbath. And then you have rest. If you look up there in the verse, it's a Sabbath of rest. Rest is Hebrews 76:77, and it is, Shabbathon. Try that one for me.
Shabbathon.
Now, if you notice, I got it written out the way they write it in Hebrew if you were using English letters, and then in parentheses, it's kind of the phonetic way for us to know how to pronounce it. So Shabbathon. Shabbathon means what?
Rest.
Okay, so when you go home tonight, you lay down tonight, go, oh, what's a Shabbathon? All right? Rest, Sabbath observance of weekly Sabbath or special set apart times. So that's the same thing there. And then it's also a set apart gathering, which we've talked about many times before in other sessions, but Hebrew 47:44, and is, can anybody remember that one? Mikra, yes, Mikra. And this is, look at that, this is pulled from Blue Letter Bible Strong's. It says convocation, convoking, reading, a calling together, sacred assembly, something called out, i.e. public meeting, also a rehearsal. So you have all those things going in together there. And it's not only a gathering, but it's a set apart gathering. And that is the Hebrew word kodesh, for set apart. And it's like Rosh Kadesh, when we have the new moon. Okay, it's a set apart time. Apartness, holiness, sacredness, separateness, dedicated, and consecrated. So I'm just going to read these thoughts here so we can just read along. Some like to just isolate the focus of resting on Sabbath and not of coming together for a sacred assembly. Many times this is how many start to guard the Sabbath. And I don't know how you started. But of course we were leading the congregation here when the Father started dealing with Mark and I about keeping Shabbat. But we couldn't just turn the ship that fast, and we were testing it out. So on Saturday, we would take Shabbat at home with our family. We did that for about a year as we learned and studied and sought the Father on that. And that's when Anna wrote our Shabbat song. Can I tell an Anna story? Okay. You know, sometimes people just want to make it's a time of rest. And I want to say that before I read the rest of this. There are times, I think, when the Father says, you know, today you need to just rest. And I do not think it's a sin to do that. I know Mark and I, you know, it says the priest break the Sabbath every week because we're working. He's working with me on getting more done prior to just getting the house ready on Friday so I can get service more ready on Thursday and kind of do some of that. So I'm getting a better gait. Hopefully he'll keep working with me in that. But do that. We're really trying to possibly once a quarter or something take a Shabbat, even if we just stay here and just let Daniel or, you know, someone lead the service, just to have a Shabbat, you know, just to have that time.
That's a good thing for you to be doing.
We're
That's a very
believing for that. So, and I think that's good. I think, you know, sometimes I had a particular lady, I won't speak her name in case that's going out, but she came up to me the other day and we were having some ministry with her, and she was like, sometimes I just need to stay at home and just rest. I want to come and I will be here and I'll be gathered, but every once in a while, she's a very busy life, got a lot going on. And it's like, I'm not condemning you. It's okay. I get it. You know, as long as you understand those two are important.
Mhm.
Because some people then, I know other people that, you know, they slave for the world all week and they just want to stay at home in their pajamas all day, but they're not fulfilling the fullness of the Sabbath.
Right.
And so there's, you know, a balance there that we all have to come together with. And this is some of this balance if you keep reading with me. Sometimes, however, someone who has been wounded in a past assembly and not yet healed, or harboring unforgiveness may resist, being a part